Welcome everyone to AFM's weekly virtual training. Thank you for attending. Please introduce yourself here with your name and where you're from. Do it in the chat. You may also use the chat feature to ask any questions or to make observations about the training content. A reminder that your name on your Zoom screens is the name that will be on your certificate. If you have others watching on your screen, please send their names to Mike Cull, and I will put his email address in the chat. And in the meantime, I'm Howard Cohen, and I will be producing today's training for our friend Cyrus. And this will be posted, the recording of this will be posted online. Can I again ask everyone to please mute yourselves? Yep, so I think that's all I want to say about myself. Some of you know that I'm a long-time volunteer with AFM. Cyrus, I will begin, if you like, with a quick word of encouragement, unless Errol is here, and I don't think he is logged on. And I know Jose is, I believe, in Nigeria today. So let me offer this as a word of encouragement. It's about listening. Listening is a form of worship, but you don't have to kneel on the floor with folded hands or mouth perfect prayer. Just open the door of yourself to another, become the space they step through to show you who they are. This is holiness. Two people seated together on the pew of a park bench or the altar of a kitchen table. Even if no one says a word for a while, receive the silence until it is like a new language. Only the two of you can speak. And that is from someone named James Cruz. So on that note, I am going to turn it over to Cyrus. Let me just bring up his screens for you. Cyrus, you all set?
Yes, I'm okay. And I want to welcome everybody. Cohen, are we ready to move?
You wanted me to go to the next slide?
No. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and welcome for today's training. Since we left each other last week, I hope we are well. Today, training is still me, Cyrus here, Kalemungorok from West Pokot, and I'm here to take you on how to read the smoke and the importance of reading the smoke during the structural fire and maybe wildland fire. Here, in our notes here, you just see some slides there. Of course, the topic says the sequence plan. The sequence plan is the plan that you may have before you reach to the fire or before you deal with all kind of fires or any kind of fires. You need to have a plan. When you approach the scene, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to observe first? And you will have a full plan with you as a firefighters and fire responders, right? So here you will see sequence plan give you something to help at your next. It's all about a smoke and in certain structure, right? Reading smoke can help us answer 3 questions. Question number 1, where? Specifically, where was the fire? Where was the smoke being produced at? Specifically area. Which area was that fire being located at? If it is a room, if it is a field, if it is a high raised building, and then is the fire there? Where there was a smoke, was there any fire? Is there any fire? That's what the questions that we can ask ourselves, and the smoke will help us to answer that questions. Slide point number 2 here. How big or intense is the fire? By observation of the smoke, you may know the size of the fire. You know, the small appearance of the fire can't produce a large smoke. That's what we know. Now, if the smoke is too small, we cannot expect to have large fire unless it is something else is burning. Maybe a grass. If it is a grass, we can expect a small smoke, but because of the open field, right? On the ground, we can find out that there is so many, we have enough oxygen that it can make smoke to disappear easily, right? Point number 3 here, how fast is it changing? Yeah, how fast it's being changing the directions. And also the appearance of that smoke, if you see the smoke on the field in the structural fire, you will know that by the speed of the smoke and by the additional, maybe the way the smoke is being added itself, the additional by what you have seen before, how fast is it taking to be more or less, and movements? How long can that smoke moving from one place to another? How fast it is? The color of the smoke, how does it being changing from one color to another? Maybe dark to gray to blue, right? So this point tells us on how to answer those 3 questions. Next slide. Basic process, the science here, right? The concept here is help you read the smoke. Yeah, the science itself and the basic process of the smoke, the way you see that smoke, it is too large, right? So it helps us to read the smoke. Which type of smoke is this? Yeah, as you can see, which type of smoke, in which color? Yeah, how is the large it is, or how small it is, right? Again, we have been told smoke is a fuel by itself. Remember that there is smoke that it can be produced without fire. Do you understand? Like the one found in the engines, car engines, maybe power source engines. Yeah, there will be heat and a large or maybe a small smoke coming out from the engine. So sometimes you can see some smoke without fire. But this one now, if it is the fire, if it is smoke being produced in the house, remember that there must be a fire, because a house cannot produce a smoke without fire. Number 2, if the smoke is at the field, remember that the fire must be there. Now, point number 2 says the fuel have changed more continuity and explosive than breviousness than previous thought or thoughts. Yeah, the fuel have changed, more continuity and explosiveness than previous thoughts. What does that mean? It means that yes, the appearance of the smoke and the fire burning inside there have changed. Maybe it was seen moving slowly, but after some time, the smoke will be large in a high speed. That means maybe there could be an explosion inside. Maybe it can be any other additional fires, right? So if you see, when the smoke is increasing with a high speed, that tells you what was burning before have changed the situation. It is not the same thing burning again. It must be something else has intruded into the fire and add more materials for fire and the smoke to change what was burning before. And now, point number 3 down there says the smoke has Drika points. Yes, now the smoke has completely changed the fire behavior, the smoke behavior than before. After a few minutes, when you approach the scene, the smoke was too slow, maybe, and definitely you will see some eruptions and explosion of smoke. That means now the smoke will change the direction and will change the behavior that you have seen before while you are approaching the scene. Yes, next slide. Yes, smoke is fuel. Particulates 70% of smoke. We have been told 70% of the smoke is being a fire, right? And inside the smoke, you will find out that there is some products being produced inside the smoke. And the same appearance, we have so many types of colors found in the smoke. As we continue, we will find out that smoke has maybe 3 or more colors. One must be black, dark, gray, white. So here we have been told 70% of smoke particulates. The product here is soot. Soot is black in color, and another product is ash. Ash is white in color, and then fibers or dust can be produced also inside there, inside the smoke. Those are the products found in the smoke, and that is why we have been told the smoke itself is fire. Next slide. Smoke is a fuel. Aerosols. What does that word means? As we continue, aerosol means what? Somebody can ask us, what does that aerosol mean? Yes, so we have been told aerosol maybe can be something being produced inside there in terms of water, oil, right? So in the smoke, we'll find out that maybe could be having a water, right? Hydrocarbons. And here we have been told black oil droplets. Yes, in our local areas or in our local villages, we will find out that our community have built some buildings that has iron sheets, and they normally use the firewood to produce a source of heat in the house. And you will find out that when they are burning the fire inside the house, the smoke will go up to the iron sheets, and there will be a material, a certain material sticking on the iron sheet. During the night hours, the iron sheet will sweat, and the material that has sticks make some sticks to the inside the room will start dropping downwards, and the color will be black, and it will be thick. It will be somehow thick. It is not like water. Eh? It's like it can come out like a gum, right? So that is what it is telling us here. Black oil droplets. It looks like an oil, right? Some oils have self-ignition temperatures as low as 460 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, we have been here. They're talking about maybe smoke in oils. Smoke in oils, maybe it can be petrol station, and maybe paraffin, petrol, right? So whereby wamesema some oils have self-ignition temps as low as 460 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, like petrol, sometimes it can so cause itself to caught on fire when being exposed to the high temperatures. I hope we are together. Next slide. Yes, consider this. The following gases create ladder fuels within smoke. Remember, there are particulates and aerosols. Also, on this table, we have been told acrolein gas. When you see the table, you will find out there is a gas, there is a self-ignition temperature, and flammable range. Now, aeroplane gas ignites itself at 450 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, flammable range 3 to negative 31 degrees, negative 31%, 3 to negative 31%, or 3 to 30%, 3 to 31%, sorry. Benzene on the line 2, ignition point, benzene gas, self-ignition temperature is 928 Fahrenheit, 1 to 8% flammable range. Hydrogen cyanide gas, 1000 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, ignition temperature, and flammable range is about 5 to 40%. Carbon monoxide gas, self-ignition temperature is 1123 degrees Fahrenheit, ignition temperature. Flammable range is 12 to 74 degrees. 12 to 74%, not degrees, sorry. Yes, we move to next slide. Yeah, remember this. Your Kia masks heat initially, you can't feel. Remember this Kia TTP masks heat initially, you can't feel 450 degrees Fahrenheit for a minute. For minutes yet the smoke you are growling in is ignitable. Yeah, what does that tells us? The PPEs that we usually use in fighting fires at a temperature of about 450 degrees Fahrenheit cannot be felt inside the PPE very fast. We cannot feel as a firefighters, including the smoke that we are crawling in or that we are working inside. Together with that smoke, it is not ignitable. As you can see there, in that door, there is a firefighters. That tells you that the firefighters are crawling inside the smoke, and the smoke is above them, which means the temperatures at where the firefighters is crawling in is very low, and above there maybe the temperatures are very high. So we can't feel that temperatures because of our PPEs. Our PPEs is very strong that it cannot allow that small high temperatures to come into contact to our bodies, right? Point number 2 down here is the thicker the smoke, the more continuity of fuel between you and the fire. The thicker the smoke, the more continuity of fuel between you and the fire. Next slide. Concept 2, fuel have changed. Fuel have changed their condition, maybe in a synthetic way. Of course, here we have been told in more synthetics, lower density, or a mass, high surface to mass, lower density to mass, and higher surface to mass. That's 2 different points. This adds up to more smoke, right? What does that mean? Lower density. After the smoke have changed the way it is moving. That's why I can put the way the smoke is moving or the way the smoke is behaving. It can be maybe moving downwards, right? The smoke will be moving maybe downwards, but it is very rare to find out that the smoke will move downwards. Mostly the smoke will move higher. It will be looking, the smoke will try to look the movement upwards, but not downwards. So the density, if the smoke is moving downwards, the density will be so lower. You can't find so more smoke coming down. But if it is moving upwards and so many things are burning inside, you will find out that the smoke will be adding its more way of behaving. You will find out that the smoke will be adding itself. It will be becoming larger and larger and larger, right? Next slide. Yeah, concept number 3 here is the triggers for the smoke ignition. As you see here, picture number 1, that tells you there is something burning inside. There's something burning inside, but it means maybe it has less oxygen to produce fire. But inside the building, something is burning by the appearance of the smoke, right? And it is not small fire that is burning inside. It must be a large fire. There's so many things getting burned inside the building. But what is needed in that building is maybe introduction of the oxygen for fire to be seen. As you see to the picture number 2, you will see that there is a fire with the smoke. The smoke now from picture 1 is reducing at picture 2 because the fuel has occupied so many space than the smoke from the picture number 2. But picture number 1 tells us that the smoke is still working as its own way. It is working as a smoke personally, not fire that being produced. The fire has not occupied any space from picture 1, but picture number 2, now the fire is there and the smoke is reducing, but it has changed the color again. As you see, the color from picture 1 looks like it is gray, but dark. And picture number 2, you'll see a fire and a black color of the smoke, right? Yes, next slide. Temperature triggers. How does that temperature triggers the smoke? Remember that we have those stages of fire, whereby we have ignition point, full develop, and we have this process known as flash offer, roll offer. Now, here at the flash point, whereby the fire is all over. The fire is now consuming everything inside the house. And maybe you have seen the flash point like here, where the fire now has been seen at the top of the building or maybe at the above of the floor. Smoke explosive or explosion. As you see here, fire is there, smoke, right? Now, when the smoke is taking place, explosions, maybe the smoke is exploding. Where is there is an explosion of smoke, there must be also the smoke, the explosion of fire. It comes together, right? It is working together, hand to hand. When you see the explosion of fire, or when you see explosion of smoke, remember there must be also the explosion of fire. At the fire point, rapid fire spread. Yeah, fire point where the fire is. When the fire is when the smoke is exploding, the fire also will follow the smoke by spreading from one point to another. The same to smoke, following each other. The smoke is the smoke is exploiting from one place to another. Now the fire will follow the same way where the smoke has taken the route. Next. Yes. So as you see on picture 1, too lean. The smoke is too small. The smoke are still very small. Now you come to picture number 2. Up there, the smoke now has become larger. From picture 1, now you go to picture 2, the smoke has increased. It is now coming more and more. Now you come down where you see fire with a little smoke. That means that there is an explosion of fire, now reducing the size of the smoke. Yes, we move to the next slide. Yeah. Other prerequisites of reading smoke. The rate of change, getting better or worse in second or minute. Yeah, as we approach to the scene, we will have to know how the fire is behaving through the appearance of the smoke. Is either smoke is being reducing or the smoke is increasing. Now, when the smoke is increasing continuously, that means that the fire inside is worsening. The fire is increasing also. But if the smoke is getting is reducing, it means what is burning there, it might be now getting the materials burning is getting to be finished, or it means the fire is no longer spreading from one point to another. Yeah, so that's how we can read the smoke behavior to give us the clear direction on what is taking place in the fire and in the room where there's a smoke and fire. Is the box observing heat, laminar versus turbulent? Is the box observing heat, laminar versus turbulent? Next slide. Reading smoke process rules. Process rules. As you see that picture, there's a ladder up there that tells you the firefighting is taking place, and there must be firefighters. And here again, you will see there's a fire engine with a large smoke without fire, right? But it means the smoke is coming from the building to outside. That tells us that the fire is inside. Now the process rules here is nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolute. Point number 2, compare ventilation openings, restructure, unrestricted, smoke or no smoke. Yeah, compare ventilation openings, restructure or unrestricted, smoke or no smoke. Watch the smoke, not the flames. Yeah, as we do the ventilation, top of the roofs, I think that fellow of ours there are trying to do ventilations and observing the smoke also. As we do the ventilation on top of the roofs, it can help us again as firefighters to reduce the heat inside the room and give out the direction of the fires. After doing the ventilation, automatically the smoke will come first, and secondly, the fire will follow the smoke. Now we will get access to the fire. We will work now to the fire. All right. Next slide.
Cyrus, you
Yes.
had a couple of questions. I answered one of them in the chat for you. It's what's laminar versus turbulent, but also a question comes in: why should we watch the smoke and not the flame? Do you want to address
Yes.
now?
The reason is the smoke will be the first product to come out before the fire. And now there is that stages of fire, whereby maybe the fire is at it needs oxygen to backfire. That means the backdraft. By observing the smoke, it will tell us that this kind of smoke is lacking oxygen. For you now to be safe, don't introduce the oxygen in large space or in large amount because of the dangers ahead. It can be backdrafts and we will be harmful. Right? Number two, it will help. Yes. Yes, Mr.
There's another question that, because it's so timely, that's why I'm interrupting you to ask you now. Someone asked, please to explain restricted and unrestricted openings.
Restricted and unrestricted openings, right? Restricted is the areas where we are not allowed to tamper. Maybe there is some very sensitive substance or something that it is not supposed to be just to be tampered with. It can cause something else to us. That is restricted areas. And maybe unrestricted is whereby you can't see anything. Again, if you have something to add on that, sir, I can allow you to add something. Or we can just move. Let's go. All right. Don't forget this. While reading the smoke, don't forget turbulence versus lamina. Measure rate of change. Smoke is a fuel. Remember that. Don't forget that. As a firefighters, turbulence versus lamina. Number two, measure rate of change. Number three, smoke is a fuel. Yes. Next slide. Before we proceed, I would have to ask you, can you back that slide again, sir? Yes. I would ask you, but after class, you will be able to give me your answer. What is turbulent? What is turbulent? And what is lamina? That is my questions you will give me during the tea time. Now, next slide, sir. Inventory and compare smoke contribution. Right? Reading smoke. The step 3 for inventory and compare the smoke attributes. Yeah. Inventories are the materials burning inside. Right? Number 2, you have to read the volume of the smoke, the velocity, density, and the color. That's what we need to observe as we approach to the fire. Factor in influence that change the meaning of VVDC. Answer the questions. Fire location, size of the fire, what will it do next? Right? Answer the question. Fire, location, size of fire, what will it do next? Right? Can it be worst or can it be better or worse in after how many seconds or minutes? Right? Next.
There's a question. Do you want to address that? The question is, What is VVDC? I'll also put that in the chat, but if someone just asked about that.
Yeah. We will answer some questions after the class during the tea time.
Got it.
Yes. Yes, next slide. Inventory and compare the key attributes. Yes, like you see there, there's a smoke, firefighters, and a fire away from the place where the firefighters, or that slide, I don't know. What to compare is a volume of the smoke, velocity and pressure, density, color, right? Inventory and compare the key attributes like volume, velocity, pressure, density, color. Yes, next. Volume gives an impression, yeah, gives an impression, establishes relativity to the box. Remember, a small volume of smoke from a very large box is significant. Volume is a source of pressure. Next slide. Velocity or pressure. How fast is the smoke leaving? As you see there, how fast is the smoke leaving? Is it slow? It is very quick. Now, is it turbulent or laminar? Is the smoke turbulent or laminar? Is laminar smoke heat or a volume burst? Is the laminar smoke heat or volume burst? Those are you observe from the smoke. Compare velocity from like-sized opening to the compare velocity from like-sized openings to find fire location. Compare velocity from like-sized opening to find the location of the fire. Of course, compare the velocity of the smoke to find the location of the fire. The higher the speed, the higher the smoke is moving, or the lower the smoke is moving, it can just direct us to where the fire is being located, right? Next slide. Density. Most important factor in firefighting. As you see there, there's a fire and there's a heavy gray and black smoke on top of the building or on top of the roof, but the fire is coming outside the window. If you can see and observe that fire, it might be explosion of the fire because of the materials burning inside, and maybe the fire has got a little oxygen through the window. That's now the explosion have taken place. The point number 2 down here is they'll shoot the future. Yeah, this type of the smoke and will tell us the next future where the fire is heading to, or where the fire is moving from which area to which area, right? And it can tell us also at which point are we supposed to fight this fire, heading where, right? Continuity of fuel. Yeah, there must be fuel, maybe continue burning by the products of the fuel itself, and the product is smoke. When there's a continuous heavy smoke coming out, which means the fire is still burning so many materials, right? The fire is still on the way, eating so many materials inside. Likelihood of an event. Likelihood of an event, degree of the event, right? Next slide. Color. Color also of the smoke helps us a lot. Tells state of heating. That's number one. Should complement velocity to find location of the fire. Should complement velocity to find the location of the fire. Brown smoke is usually unfinished wood being heated. Brown smoke is, when you see a brown smoke, that tells you that there is a wood burning, but it is not complete, right? Remember, smoke color can be filtered over distance or through resistance. Yeah, the more the smoke is going up, the more the oxygen is interfering with it. That's what I can say. The more the smoke is going up, the more the oxygen is being available. The more presence of oxygen is available up there. So the color of the smoke will be changed from one point to another, maybe from the gray, from the dark to gray, from the gray now to maybe blue and maybe colorless, right? Yes, next. As you see here, some pictures there. Factor in influences. Container defines the significance of VVDC, like weather, what else, right? You see here, firefighters are working on top of the roof, and the smoke is getting up. And you see down there, firefighters are working in a small building, which is on underground, on the ground, and the other one is a large building. This aerial house maybe, and the other one is a ground house. So the appearance of the smoke are not the same, right? The one at the tall building will just go up direct, and this one at the building in the ground will just spread all over fast before it goes direction to go up. It will just spread within the compound, or within the compound and the areas where the building is. So, and now from there it will get the direction by the wind, maybe to go up or just move from one area to another, maybe from north to the east, south to the, according to the direction of the wind. But this one, in the high-raised building, the smoke will just go direct where the source is being produced, and now on top it will get another direction by the wind. Yes, next. Yes, answer the questions. Where is the fire on this kind of the smoke? When you see this smoke here, you will ask some questions to yourself. Where is the fire? How big or intense is the fire? That fire is it large? Is it small? By the appearance of the smoke, right? How fast it is changing? Maybe how fast is the fire changing the direction from one point to another? How fast is the fire consuming things from one place to another, right? Getting better or worse? Is this fire being reducing or just increasing, right? Those are the questions we have to ask ourselves by observing the smoke, right? Next.
Cyrus, okay, I'll pass it on, but we're getting close to the hour.
Okay. Update, refocus. Velocity trumps color. Any thick, fast moving smoke is ignitable. Zero visibility makes you a slave to your environment. Do you understand those terms? Velocity trumps color. Any thick, fast moving smoke is ignitable. Zero visibility make you a slave to your environment. That's facts. That's the facts. Where you can't see, you can't do anything, right? Next slide. Turbulent smoke is ready to flash and indicates floor temperature are past human life thresholds. Zero rescue profile. Manage it, but reduce your risk taking. Right? Next. Refocus. Ventilation has never been more important and needed to be our first tactical priority. Make the building behave, right? We can't rush to do ventilation where it is not necessary to do the ventilation, right? We have to check the building first, observe the size of the smoke, because we can be doing the ventilation at the wrong place and at the wrong time, right? Next. Shortcuts, not absolute. Never try to do a shortcut on fighting fires, right? You need to observe everything, especially on the smoke. When the smoke is black, thin, fast, flame near, right? White, speed, hot, but fire is distance, right? Brown, unfinished wood being heated. Next. Practice time, right? So now, as you go back to fire station and firefighting, make sure that smoke is the major key for you to know the size of the fire, to know the direction of the fire, to know the movement of the fire. Is it fast or very low? The dangers behind the smoke. Is there anything burning that it may cause explosion, right? For example, if gas is burning, and the materials closer to the gas is getting burned, that means maybe the gas inside the cylinder are just getting heat, plus the smaller one that is being burnt outside. Because of the material surrounds the gas, it may burn, right? And the gas cylinder may burst, so explosion may take place, right? and so many other materials that we are supposed to observe. Okay, thank you very much, guys. We have reached the end of our today's classwork, and I have to thank this person also who helped me to give to read these notes, the courtesy of Battalion Chief Dave Ransom at www.firefightersclosecall.com. If you are able to access those notes, www.firefighters, yes, closecalls.com. Thank you very much, and back to you, Mr. Cohen.
Okay, Cyrus, thank you very much for this presentation. And thank you for all of you for attending today's training. We will be posting the recording online soon for future reference. We would ask that you complete our online evaluation so that we can continue to improve our trainings. I posted that link already in the chat. Next week training, we continue in the area of fire behavior. We'll be looking at fire suppression tactics with retired Chief Brad Bands, who's a active AFM instructor as well. Many of you know him. You will be able to use the same link to log into the training next week if you're able to attend. Please invite other firefighters to register and attend our trainings. Thank you, and remember, a better fire service starts with you.